The current Japa wave has its downsides.
And not everybody can go to the US. I think that the environment you are plays a huge part in what you become.
Don't you think if we keep exporting the best of us, that leaves the country in a more bigger trouble than we are already in?
As a human being, you always have to think about yourself first. Who do you think the president of Nigeria cares about the most?
Hello and welcome to JBS Conversations. In this first episode, we'll be exploring the topic of migration. I know that this is on the lips of many Nigerians as we continue to navigate the difficult economic challenges plaguing the country at this time. Thousands have left in the past 5 years and many more are gearing up to do so in search of greener pastures. But this wave of emigration doesn't always have a happy ending. We've seen reports of Nigerians stranded outside. We've heard about people losing their life savings to fraudsters in their journey to these foreign countries. But there are many success stories as well, stories that we can draw inspirations from. That is, for those of us who want to give this a shot, of course. And joining me to discuss all of this is a very special guest, a doctor who has traveled to 78 different countries and worked in 5 of those. Now he's using his experience to show people how to travel to the country of their dreams without too much hassle. He's popularly known as Wakawaka Doctor. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So
it's amazing to be your first guest.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for counting me worthy to be on your show, and it's a pleasure.
Thank you for doing this. So firstly, can you tell us a little about your childhood? What was it like growing up?
Growing up, I grew up in a regular, middle class Nigerian home.
Okay.
Father, an engineer, telecoms engineer. Mother, of course, I'm sure you can guess, a teacher. And she was the disciplinarian of the house, always ensuring that you followed the rules. She had these values and ethos that she just wanted the best for you at all times, academically, morally, your social values needed to be this way. And always wanted to be a computer tech guy. That was what I initially wanted to become, an astronaut.
Oh, wow.
And then my father said, "Astro what?" Astro what? And then I said,
"How possible is that in Nigeria even?"
Yeah. And that time I had that dream of becoming an astronaut. I wrote exams to Berea College. I got a scholarship with Berea College in the US with the help of one of my friends. And my dad was like, "This is not happening." And then I said, "Okay, we'll do tech, computer science." And my dad said, what is wrong with this child?" So he was like, "In this house, the only thing you're going to do is medicine. You have to be a doctor." And we fought and fought and fought. And I was like, "No, I'm not becoming a doctor. But who go pay school fees now?" So I ended up going to school, studying medicine. First year, I hated it. And then somehow found a way to pass. And second year, I started loving it. And I grew into it and I loved it. And in fact, I told him one day, I said, "This is one of the best decisions you've made for me." Wow. Actually forcing me to study medicine, because now I love it and it's actually opened doors for me, And Wakawaka Doctor simply stemmed from the fact that I love traveling. So Wakawaka is an informal, lingo. It describes someone who loves to travel all the time, and doctor, of course, as a medical doctor. So I grew up in your average Nigerian family. Parents go out to work in the night, you come back, you watch Storyland on TV, you do your assignments, you go back, you go to sleep. Early in the morning, you have to go to work and school again. So, yeah, that's it.
That's quite an interesting story. So this hasn't actually been what you always wanted to do?
No, at all. Not the doctor part, not the Wakawaka part.
But you somehow fell in love with it.
But I fell in love with it as a career, and it has opened doors and even created, the brand Wakawaka Doctor. So I'll forever be grateful to my dad. Yeah.
So how is the journey? How has it been for you?
Like every journey, it's filled with ups and downs. There's always positive and negatives. I mean, when I started my career as a doctor, I was in Nigeria, and the salary was, I don't have a term to describe, was terrible. We would often see 150 to 200 patients every day. Wow. And I was doing 2 jobs to try and just meet up. And at that time, it was less than $200, a month. So when I saw an opportunity to go out there and, I was getting fully funded visa sponsorship, accommodation was paid for, flights was paid for, 45 days of paid leave. I was like, come on, I'm going to grab this. So that opportunity took me to the Middle East, where I started working as a doctor, and then that jolted, me to move to another country to work and another country to work. But while I was in the Middle East, because I had this resident permit that allows you to travel the Middle East, I was able to see, United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, Kuwait, Jordan, Oman. And I just saw that there's a lot that we actually don't know. The world is so big.
Yeah, true.
And there's a lot we don't know. We sit in our comfort zones and feel that, my father's garden is the biggest. You go out there and see somebody else's garden, and then you see that the world is so much larger than you thought. And so it's been a very interesting journey that then culminated in me I started by creating content to show people that, okay, there's a beautiful world out there. Let's show you the things you can see in that country. And then that changed over the years. And it became, okay, instead of just showing people what they can see in this country, let me show them how they can move to those countries.
What was the inspiration for that?
Well, the inspiration actually was a friend, a popular social media influencer as well, Aproko Doctor.
Oh,
I know him too. So he was like, every time I call you, you're in this country. Every time I call you, you're in this country. So why don't you just show people how to go about it? And in fact, we sat and thought about the name together. It was initially supposed to be Travel Doctor.
Okay.
And then we thought Travel Doctor is not interesting. Travel Doctor, but if you say Wakawaka, there's this ring to it, And said that's going to be the name. So the first video I made was moving to France.
Okay.
And there were a lot of, reviews, and I thought, okay, let's do this. But I've gotten a lot of stick as well. Okay. Because a lot of people say, when you want to tell people to move abroad, they should only go to the UK, they should only go to the US, they should only go to Canada, they should only go to Australia. So when I tell people go to Japan, I get a lot of pushbacks, and they say, why is this guy telling people to go to Japan? Why is this guy telling people to go to Poland? But look, I feel that everybody should be able to see what abroad looks like. It shouldn't matter about your pocket.
Much you have,
It shouldn't be because you don't have money. If people don't have money and they've got skill, they should be able to see abroad. And not everybody can go to the US.
True.
Why are there 95, 96 countries in the world, and then we'll focus on just 5? If your journey starts from Brazil, that's okay. Your journey can start from Brazil. After all, Brazil offers free education. Right, your journey can start in Japan, because Japan offers a fully funded scholarship that's amazing. Okay. They also have work visas as well. If you're a teacher, if you're an engineer, they have work visas for you. So why not start from there, even if your destination is Canada in the end? Because on the way, you will pick up global experience, you would interact with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, that would shape your person and also widen your horizon. Yeah. And then you can now decide to move elsewhere. Yeah.
So from what you've said, the moment you left Nigeria, things opened up somehow.
Things changed.
So do you think environment plays a crucial role to people's achievement in life?
Absolutely. And this is not a stain. I mean, Nigeria is my country. Yeah. I believed so much in Nigeria. Now I don't know if I still believe, but I believed so much in Nigeria. But you see, I feel that today, once you leave Nigeria, your life will change. I take it to the bank. I promise you. Once you leave Nigeria, your life will change positively. You begin to think, there's so many things that stress us in Nigeria.
Okay.
There's no electricity. You sit in traffic for 6 hours. You suddenly find yourself in a place that functions, in a place that works. All you need to do is just think. You don't need to think about, where would I see light to charge my phone? Where will I see light to charge my laptop? This is not working. That is not working. No, you have everything. So you just need to sit down and be creative and think in a place where things work. So I've always said that once you leave Nigeria, your life just changes. Your perspective changes. The world opens up to you. And you can now see, I can tap from here. I can benefit from there. That is not to say that there are no people in Nigeria who make it. There are people doing excellently well in Nigeria, and I bless them. God bless them. That's fantastic. But not all fingers are equal. Yeah. So everybody, and I think that everybody should be able to have opportunities, not just secluded to one place. You should have an opportunity to see what's out there for you. So I think that the environment you are right now plays a huge part in what you become, basically.
That is quite something, because on another thought, don't you think if we keep exporting the best of us, that leaves the country in a more bigger trouble than we are already in?
The country is already in trouble.
Yeah.
The country is already in trouble. So how deep a trouble can we get into?
Oh, it can get worse.
And that's okay. That's okay. Because as a human being, you always have to think about yourself first. Who do you think the president of Nigeria cares about the most? He doesn't give a thought about you. He gives a thought about him first. All the politicians in Nigeria, they care about you. They don't care about you. It is them first. And human being, it's a general phenomenon. You have to be selfish about yourself. So you have to look after yourself. All right? I never wanted to leave Nigeria. It wasn't in the plan at all. Because we would all think that Nigeria will be great. If 1 naira becomes $1 today, we'll come back now. Yes. If 1 naira is $1 today, and I wake up and there's 24 hours electricity, and I step out and I drive on good roads, and you pay me at least $5,000 every month as a doctor, that's as a basic salary with other additives, I'll come home. But you see, these basic amenities are not there. The government is not working. So what do we have to stay? Why do we have to stay?
But if we are not here to demand the government work for us, that means we are just giving up on the country then. There's something I always say, that it's not my job to build the country. And this is the spice of life. We can debate this. Okay. It's debatable. But my opinion is, it's not my responsibility there are people that are fighting. They can continue to fight. Me, I don't have power to fight. I don't have power to fight, So, and looking at it again, this is my own community responsibility as well, because telling people to leave the country also has its own advantages, because you look at remittances that come back into the country. Sure. Yeah. You look at people who go outside to acquire skill and then come back, to develop, play a part or play a role in the country. I have always believed that emigration or migration as a whole is a cycle. Mm-hmm. So if you go out to complete that cycle, you definitely have to come back and give back. So it doesn't even have to be your country. It might just be your own family. It might be your local government. It might be your just a small circle. Yeah. You're contributing your own quota. So yes, people will say, oh, you're selfish, you're not patriotic. That's fine. There are people who are very patriotic and believe, but I'm in my 30s, right? If nothing has changed in 30 years, you think there's anything that will change in the next 50? I don't think so. The signs are there. If it will change,
then our children's children can continue to struggle. But for me, I prefer to look after myself, and really, I don't care about what's going on in the country. I just want to be out there and enjoy myself.
Okay. Well, about 16,000 doctors left Nigeria in the last 5 years alone. And currently, according to a report by Punch, the country has 55,000 licensed medical doctors to serve a population of 200 million people, right? So, in fact, sitting here right now, I am very lucky to have a doctor all to myself for the next few minutes.
Yes.
You get? But then, I have to ask, do you still practice?
I still practice.
Okay.
I still practice. And I suppose your next question will be, why are doctors leaving? And why are doctors not staying?
Yes, I'm coming there.
Okay.
But would you want to, you talked about if they provide these social amenities and increase the pay for these doctors, would you come back here?
I don't, see, the thing is, I don't mind coming back. Okay. I'm here in Nigeria now because home will always be home.
True.
Home will always be home. Don't think that, the other side is so green and doesn't have its disadvantages, or it doesn't have its problems, or doesn't have its issues. There are issues on the other side too. And home will always be home. There's a proverb that says that, if everything scatter, finish for outside, there's always home to go back to. So Nigeria will always be home. And if everything is put in place, there's no reason why people will not want to come back. But the question is, will everything be put in place? Will everything be ever put in place? Will it ever get to a time when people just look and say, let's just forget about politicians can do what they want to do. We will just sit down here and just, give up on the whole situation. I mean, there are people who are brave enough to take on the government, and I salute their courage, but are we going to see results anytime soon? That's the question. So look at the last election, for instance. You and I, we play our part. I left and came here to vote. We play our part and vote. So what happened at the end of the day? Did the vote count? They stole the vote. So to answer your question, if things change and move in a positive direction, personally, I'd come back home. For sure.
Why do you think doctors are running away in this big number? Because this is quite concerning.
Okay, let me ask you. Have you really been to some places to see hospitals?
Yeah, I've seen quite a few. In fact,
no, we're not talking of...
Harry is doing us the justice of showing us hospitals right now on Twitter. That is X.
If you go to hospitals, and I'm not even saying hospitals in states, I'm saying go to local governments and see hospitals.
That's primary healthcare.
Primary healthcare, and see hospitals. You ask yourself, who exactly is in charge of this ward, or who exactly in charge of this local government? Deplorable state, dilapidated structures. Then you pay someone peanuts. When I was working in Osun State, with 98,000, 6 months, 98,000, 6 months they didn't pay us.
And you're required to go to work?
You will go to work now. I mean, of course, I love my job. I love to take care of people. I'm not going to say because you don't pay me, I won't work. Because I'm saving a life. So I'll go to work. But think about the person who refuses to release salary to doctors that you're already paying peanuts. Now you pay 98,000 naira to a doctor, and you compare to somewhere else where he can get 3,500 pounds. When I was in Saudi Arabia, I was seeing 4 patients a week. The maximum I was seeing a week is 10 patients.
As compared to
150 in a day. So I'm more relaxed. I'm not stressed. My salary is tax-free. I have more opportunities to read and prepare for international exams. So these are the things. So doctors are human beings too. And if you know the stress doctors go through.
Can only imagine.
I'll tell you a story that I'm sure you're aware of. The doctor who died in the elevator.
Yeah.
Does that make sense in any way? That the hospital has an elevator that doesn't work and killed someone. I don't even know if that elevator, something has been done to it right now.
I heard it's not yet fixed.
It's not yet fixed. I mean, these are the issues. Did any head roll for that? These are the issues. Nobody was questioned. Nobody was sacked. Nothing happened. They didn't fix the elevator. And that's a doctor who's gone. There are doctors who work over and over all week without breaks. And then you look at their pay slip, it's 120,000, 150,000. But like we know in Nigeria, we put the cart before the horse. So now they say, we don't want doctors to leave Nigeria. They must work in Nigeria for 5 years before they move abroad. Instead of sitting down using your brain to say, let's pay these people more, let's give them incentives. Instead of saying, we will not make you leave the country or except you work 5 years. Or we say, doctors, we are going to triple your salary now. And actually triple it and put it into effect. Why should a doctor not earn like a senator? Why should a doctor not earn as much as a senator? That's why senators are fat. Check them out now. They sit in the House of Reps, they are fat, pot belly, they don't do anything. And the people are actually working, teachers, engineers, doctors. You starve them of what they deserve to have. These are the issues and many more in Nigeria. So you can't blame doctors who want to leave.
Yeah.
You see a better opportunity out there, you take it.
And it seems the policy that's trying to force these people to stay is now being applied majorly to health professionals.
Yes, nurses,
Yes.
and yeah. It's been applied, and I get a lot of messages, nurses wailing and crying, and it's quite unfortunate. But like I said, Nigeria has a deep, critical thinking problem. So rather than solve an issue, they try to just surgically remove the whole thing. So instead of saying, okay, why are they even leaving? Okay, let us try and solve the problem. And I mean, the problem that makes them leave. Let's solve the problem, not stop them from going. Oh, so you think that doctors, you see, another thing people think is, now, you stop doctors and nurses from moving. Okay, but there are other ways doctors and nurses can actually work abroad without needing your license. A doctor and a nurse can work in 20 different fields, 50 different fields that would not require a license. So you've actually not done anything. You've not done anything. But if you say, okay, we need better facilities to provide state-of-the-art hospitals, facilities. Is it that we don't have money to do it? We do, but people are stealing that, putting in their pockets. We do. Is it that we cannot pay doctors more, cannot pay nurses more? You can, but you refuse to do so. Okay, tell me if you do this and say doctors and nurses require renewed salary. Every year, a doctor or a nurse should have a state-funded holiday. Paid leave with a trip. We can do it. Why can't you do it?
Do you have that outside?
Yes. You have that in some, especially Middle East countries. You have that. Where they give you paid leave. In some countries, they even give you tickets to go on a holiday. Because they know what you do. They know the work that you do. But in Nigeria, there's no value for these things.
But as a foreign practitioner, do you have access to all these benefits outside as well?
Yeah, but not in every country.
Okay.
Not in every country, but in a few countries you have benefits to, stuff like that. Where, like I said, when I was in Saudi Arabia, they give you 45 days of paid leave. You get a ticket to also go to anywhere you want to go. So these are some of the benefits that people see and are like, this is very juicy. So they take it.
Now, you said you left, when did you leave Nigeria again?
I left Nigeria in 2014.
2014. I'm sure things were a bit easier back then.
Yeah.
How was the process like for you?
The process was quite easy. I mean, when I came across the opportunity, it was just luck. Okay. I was having food and I saw the advert, and from there I went, did the interview, got the job offer, and decided to use an agent to make things smoother. But the whole process was within 2 to 3 months. So I finished my youth service I think I finished sometime around February or so of 2014, and in April, May, I was gone. Wow. So it was I submitted my CV, got the contract, signed it. In fact, my contract was in Arabic. I didn't even look at it because I only looked at the part in English, and when I saw money, I saw, signed. That shouldn't happen really, but just the excitement of, this opportunity is real. And I mean, when I even left, I was like, is this like, I was pinching myself, is this thing really happening? Is this really true? And I mean, it's paved the way for other things that have happened to me. So back then, 10 years ago, things are more difficult now, no doubt, but I'll still always tell people that you just need to persevere. If you have a target, try and just persevere, continue the process, and you will get it.
You said you've traveled to 78 countries.
78.
And you've worked in 5.
Yes.
How long did it take you to settle down in this place?
I don't settle down. No, I don't settle down. I don't settle down. And that's a major issue. I'm thinking of moving to the final place now. Okay. I'm yet to decide. Possibly I will decide at the end of the year. I'm going to say, okay, this is where I'm going to be and stay for as long as possible. So I don't, it's a problem I've had that I'm not able to stay in one place for too long. So the longest I've stayed in any place is 3 years, and I move. So 2.5, 3 years, I move. So, and that's because I love to see different places. I actually thought that this year I would make it 80. I still don't know if it's going to be 80, but we'll see. And it's just fun. Okay. It's the best form of education you can have, just traveling. It's the best form of education you can have, better than sitting in the classroom. So settling down is not something I've thought of. Okay. It's not something that I've been able to achieve, but I'm sure that sometime at the end of this year I'll achieve that.
But this movement you've been embarking on, have you been doing all this with your Nigerian passport?
Yes, I have.
Tell me something.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
How? Because I heard Nigerian passport is like.
Yeah. So you want to. Okay. So I'll put it this way: most of the countries I've been to, I've been with the Nigerian passport. Okay. Other countries I've used another passport. Okay. But this is it. Okay, let me say this. Initially, when I started the whole traveling thing, I enjoyed the thrill of submitting documents, going to embassy, submitting my passport. I enjoyed it. Okay. So I always liked, I'm filling a form, I'm applying. It used to give me this, yeah. So I used to. But it increasingly got, wear and tear, and sometimes you just feel like, because I'm very spontaneous, so I feel like, finish work on Friday, I want to move. So I had to acquire a second passport. Okay. Which I will not share now. But for most of the countries I've been to, it's a Nigerian passport, and that's done the match again.
That's quite interesting. Yeah. The current Japa wave, that is Japa now, this running away from Nigeria, has its downsides. Now, we have so many travel agencies, some not so legitimate. And I really want to know what are some stories you've heard about visa scams. I did a video about it sometime, I think early this year, right? I was looking for ways to feature you on that video. I really want to know.
There are a lot of, I hate, and hate is a strong word, but I hate agents. And I'll use myself as an example. So when I started this whole Japa thing, and I found out that I was becoming popular, and I could help people actually acquire, opportunities out there. So I decided that I was going to start a travel community,
Okay.
where people don't have to spend huge amounts of money to execute their travel goals. Okay. So I said I was going to get travel agents and use these travel agents to help more people. I already had the community, I already had the traction, people trusted me, so I could just get travel agents to just do the groundwork and help more people. So I spoke to some travel agents, and me, I still am a bit naive because I feel that when you say something, just do it. So if you say, I'm going to get you to the UK, get people to the UK. Don't steal their money, just get them to the UK. But human beings are human beings. So I entrusted a lot of money into some of these agents who took the money and bailed. Didn't do. And the reason why you've not heard anything about it is because I used my personal money to sort out these people. That's why you've never heard anything they say, oh, Wakawaka doctor took people's money. Because I had to use my personal money. Because again, a good name is better than anything else.
Yeah.
But these agents are there that I'm dealing with on my own end. And that's why I always tell people that it's either you use videos that I make, for instance, to do it by yourself, or you use reputable, licensed consulting firms.
Okay.
That is it. Agents, number one, will not carry you along in the process. They feel that because they have the experience, they can just do any application. They will rely on applications, get you bans, take your money, not deliver on the promises made. I mean, tons of people moved to the UK and they're still stranded till now. Because an agent collected 10,000, 13,000 pounds from them, they sold all their properties, gave you COS, you got to the UK, no job. So you sold all your properties in Nigeria, now you're in the UK, there's no job. Where do you go from there? Or I'll tell you the ones that will say, oh my God, agents will tell you, I'm going to get you abroad, give me 10 million naira. You give the agent 10 million naira, you give a visa to Vietnam. He will tell you that don't worry, from Vietnam, you will just take a train. You'll be in Australia. You yourself, you didn't look at map. Is there a train from Vietnam to Australia? Australia, you need a visa. So you get to Vietnam or you get to Malaysia, you become stranded. Because you can't fly to New Zealand, you can't fly to Australia without a visa. They say, don't worry, wait there, there's job. There's no job. Or those that lie and say, you will use visiting visa. They will use a visiting visa. Once you use a visiting visa, you get there, you find work, you stay. Once I hear agent, is equal to liar. If, in fact, people that I recommend are people that I have to see your license. Your license to do it. If you're telling people I can help you get to Canada, then the IRCC must, which is the regulatory body for Canadian immigration, must recognize you. If you're telling people that you can help people move to the UK, then the UKVI must give you a license. Those are the only people. So all these other agents here and there, I tell people to run away from them.
But as a novice now, I don't know how to differentiate those. How do I know if this agent has the license?
Okay, so you ask.
Okay.
You ask. So say for instance, an agent says, okay, I can help you go to Canada, and he lies and says, I have a license. Collect his licensing number. Go on IRCC website and check. IRCC website, there's a list of all licensed agents. So go and check if his name is there. If his name is not there, that's a lie. And let's assume that, okay, even you can't check that. There are things that agents do that would give you an idea. Agents don't communicate. They don't communicate. They don't listen to you. Even if they communicate, they don't listen to you. It's a one-way street. This is it. Agents will tell you to lie on documents. Agents will tell you to lie on documents. Falsify this.
That is the unlicensed one.
Yes, the unlicensed one. They will tell you, falsify this. Don't worry. This is how this person did it one time. Let's just change this. Let's do this. You will know that that's not real. So they always give you red flags here and there, and if you pay attention, you'll be able to catch them. There's no receipt of transaction. They will tell you, okay, don't worry. Yeah, they will tell you stories. These agents you are using, if that is how it works, why haven't they done it to go themselves? You ever ask yourself that? Or you think the agent just likes Nigeria? So there are always red flags, but people don't pay attention to it. Again, you have to do your own work diligently and look for these signs before you ever engage anybody.
So, for people who are not aware of all of these things you've said, you've given us some key points to look at, like the licensed agents. We can verify their information on the websites of these people. But for some of these agents that say, there was one I spoke with some time back, I'm not going to share his name. They said they could get you something called proof of funds, that you don't need to have the money, that it's something normal they do. I'm sure you must have heard of this. Yeah. Is that supposed to be legitimate?
It's not legitimate. Again, it's not legitimate. But you know that the current situation of Nigeria, not everybody can have 45 million naira in their bank account. So what some people do is they don't alter documents, right? Some of them put money in your account and lock the money in there. It's in collaboration with financial organizations. So they lock the...
So they are banks in
Yes. So you are not able to withdraw the money. Okay. So the money is just to show proof, that you've got the financial wherewithal, but you're paying commissions on it. So it's almost like taking a loan. You pay interest on that money.
But isn't this going to work against the person going there? Because I'm sure there must have been a reason why they said you should have proof of funds in your account.
Well, the embassy will do their own findings, to see if the money is actually in the account. If the embassy feels that, yes, you've been able to justify that you have the financial requirement, then they give you the visa. If they find out and think that you falsified it, then you get the ban. So it can work for you, it can work against you. Yeah.
Now, let's assume it works for you, and you don't really have the money, and then it works for you. What becomes of you when you get there?
So again, you get there, and then you now have to start finding a way to survive. You now have to start calling friends and family to support you. You now have to start finding a way, to raise money when you get there. And that is why I always tell people that, look, you need one of three things to be able to move abroad. One of three things.
Okay.
It's either you have money, or you have a skill, or you have a degree. Because if you have a good degree, you might be able to get a scholarship that does not have any financial requirements.
Okay.
If you have a skill, you will be able to get employment that would sponsor your visa that doesn't have any financial requirement.
Okay.
And if you have money, you have the money, you go. So for me, it's not enough to just say, I don't have money. Okay, so if you don't have money, then acquire a skill. If you don't have money, then get a degree and work hard on applying for opportunities that are out there, using them, exploring them, and then,
Now, I know these 3 points you made, they are very valid. But you know that some people are not very, permit me to use this word, very smart, quote unquote, to go for the degree now. And even if you're going for that, you will need some money to do that.
Yeah.
So let's remove money and remove degree. We are left with skill.
Yeah.
How and what skills do I need to acquire?
So every country has a shortage occupations list. Okay. Every country has a shortage occupations list. And on the shortage occupations list, you would find a list of jobs that are in demand in those countries. And whether you believe it or not, it's not just tech guys, healthcare professionals, and engineers they're looking for. No. There are some countries that are looking for construction workers. Canada, at the time, Canada at the time needed truck drivers.
Yeah, I heard one time that truck drivers were like highly paid people in
Yes,
Canada.
they're still highly paid.
Oh, really?
So you may be saying to yourself,
but look at my size, can I drive a truck?
yeah, you can. You might be saying to yourself, oh, I'm an electrician, I can't go abroad. There are countries that need electricians.
Wow. So these are the skilled workers they
Yes.
talked about.
So you acquire a skill, but there are documentations that you must have. So it's not enough to go to Baba Kafaya to go and learn how to become a welder and just say, okay, I have welding skill.
Okay.
So you need to have a trades certificate that shows that you've learned that skill. That's number one. Number two, most of these, so I don't know how it works, but you can have like organization of welders or national organization of truck drivers. You need to be able to get a reference from that organization to say, I belong to the organization. So a lot of people don't have these documents.
Okay.
Plus the fact that you might also need to write English tests. So these documents is what's required. But once you have the skill, and you can support it with these documents, and you can apply to as many people at places as possible, you have a very high chance of landing jobs.
You talked about acquiring trade certificates. How do I go about that?
There are trade unions. Okay. Believe it or not, there are trade unions. In Nigeria, for example, you have trade unions. Okay. So you just reach out to the trade union, or you reach out, so you have to, or you can learn the skill from a reputable, company that can certify you. And that's how you get it. But people don't know that there are trade unions in your country that you can approach, to get these trade certificates.
Wow, this is an eye opener for me too. So let me ask you now. I want to relocate from Nigeria. Subscribers, sorry, How do I go about it?
Okay, so moving abroad. First, you have to sit down with yourself and ask yourself a series of questions. Why do you want to move abroad? Are you moving abroad because our Wakawaka doctor is always saying it, you must move abroad by force. That's why I want to do it. Are you moving abroad because, everybody is Japa now, let's Japa? Are you moving abroad because you want to get a better pay? You want to get improved financial remuneration? Are you moving abroad because you feel that where you are right now is not safe, you need somewhere safer? Are you moving abroad because you're tired of the passport you have and you need a better passport? Are you moving abroad because you want access to better facilities, better, basic amenities and improved quality of life? You need to ask yourself that question. That would help you determine where you want to go. Because if, for instance, you want to move abroad just because, the reason you want to move abroad is because security. If Togo is safer than Nigeria, and you go to Togo, you've jackpot. Because Togo has now served the purpose for you. Yes. So if you want more money, and you found more money in Lesotho, you have jackpot. Because Lesotho has now given you the opportunity to earn more money. So you need to ask yourself why. You now need to ask yourself also when. So there needs to be a time frame. Am I giving myself 6 months, 9 months, 1 year, 2 years to prepare? Then you need to also ask yourself how. How am I doing this? There are 3 ways to do it, about 5 ways to do it. You can move through the student route, you can move through the job route, you can move through the permanent residency route, you can move through marriage. Then there's asylum, which I don't always recommend.
Why?
All right? I don't recommend asylum because it has to be the last resort. When you apply as asylum seekers, as an asylum seeker, there's many disadvantages that come with it. Aside from the fact that you'll be labeled, there's also societal witch hunting that comes with it in different countries. There's some privileges that will not be open to you as an asylum seeker. So I always feel that it should be the last resort. Okay, so once you've critically looked at these 5 routes, you now decide which one do you want to take. I've always said that moving as a student is the easiest one. It's the easiest one. So you ask yourself, you want to move as a student. The second one is moving as, through the job route.
Okay.
So what skill do you have? How do you want to move? Are you a creative? Are you a professional? Are you whatever skill you have? You then start applying for jobs that come with sponsorship in your own role. If you're a creative, for instance, there are global talent visas around the world. There's EB2 NIW visas in the US. There's the global talent visa in the UK. There's the digital nomad visas that are all around the world, even in Southern America. So you have to ask yourself this as well. If it's permanent residency, you can apply to Australia, you can apply to New Zealand, you can apply to Canada. You've got permanent residency options. So you have to ask yourself how you want to do it. Once you decide that, then you start the process. I've got tons and tons of videos. I think I have about 300 videos.
Wow.
On my YouTube channel that talks about different routes to move into different countries. So the last question you ask yourself is where? Where do I want to go to? Remember, I've said there are 195 countries in the world. Don't restrict yourself. Open your eyes. Select the one that fits the reason why you want to move. So it shouldn't be, that country is not sounding sweet in the mouth. When you call, I'm in Canada, it says very sweet. I'm the United Kingdom. It says very sweet. But you cannot say I'm in Kazakhstan. You cannot say even Poland is not sweet. So and some people look at flags and say, this country's flag, it's not, but that's not it. It shouldn't be about the name of the country or the way the flag looks. It should be about why you're moving there. So whether it is Lesotho you're moving to, or Kenya you're moving to, or Togo you're moving to, if the country fulfills the reason for your migration, you've done it successfully.
But how about the peace and security for those countries you mentioned? For instance, now the Middle East, with what is going on between Israel and Palestine. Isn't it kind of like...
for
example, now someone say, I want to move to Lebanon. We'll immediately start praying for you.
So now for that person, Lebanon will not fulfill the reason why the person wants to move. So even if they are paying you money, the whole world in Lebanon, you now have to ask yourself, is it worth moving to, irrespective of the insecurity? Believe it or not, there are people who have moved from Nigeria to Russia in the last 1 year.
True.
Because they've looked at it and said, okay, it's not everywhere in Russia that the war is, right? And maybe where they are going to is outside those cities, and they are paying them more in that place. So why not? So again, it's about weighing the pros and cons. It's about, putting on a scale of balance and checking which one works better for you before you decide.
I think that works. I believe there are some challenges that come with living in a new country. We have cost of living, the weather, and then cultural differences. I would like to go over these concerns with you, if you don't mind. Now, let's talk about cost of living, for example. Imagine a married man with kids in the house, and you're living comfortably in Abuja. This is the federal capital of Nigeria, right? But then you are considering relocating to maybe the United States, Canada, the UK, or one of these other countries you mentioned. How do you put yourself in that right frame of mind to say, okay, I have to live all this comfortable life I have here because Nigeria no longer offers me security, healthcare, the peace of mind I want. And now you're going over to start a new life.
So if you've answered the questions that I asked when I started, then you'll be able to go through that. If you can answer why you're moving, then it won't really matter at the end of the day. That's why moving abroad requires planning, and moving abroad is a personal journey. You don't listen to, I moved to this place, it didn't work for me. When I moved to this place, I suffered. that person's story is valid and could be real, but it could be different for you. It could be different from yours when you get there. So it requires a lot of planning. It requires a bit of doggedness. And that's why I always say that traveling abroad, moving abroad, is not just about money. It's about courage.
Okay.
You need a lot of courage because you're going to leave your family and friends behind. You're going to leave the people you know behind. You're going to leave your comfort zone. You are going to start afresh. But one thing I know for sure is, you see that money you think you have here. Okay, let's talk about how much is that person earning in naira? That person, that illustration. Let's say it's earning how much?
Let's say hypothetically is earning 3 million in naira.
So he's earning 3 million in naira.
That's less than 3,000.
That 1,500 pounds.
Okay, but
that's 1,500 pounds.
How long will it take you to get such a job?
So the thing is, 1,500 pounds.
Yeah.
An average person in the UK will be able to earn like 30,000 pounds per year. So you're talking about between 2,000 to 2,500 per year.
But then they talk about the high taxes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm saying even after tax, even after tax, you would still be able to, let's say you will still be able to have like maybe 1,700, 1,800. I'm not talking of a doctor or an engineer. I'm talking of someone who's maybe an healthcare assistant, low cadre, 1,700, 1,800 pounds. Maybe rent is 400 or 400 or 450 pounds. You see, they still have like 1,400 in a month. So that person who earns 3 million here is obviously not in that cadre. 3 million here, I'll put him up as someone who's maybe a bank manager who has a huge skill. So when you go abroad, remember that you're starting afresh and your CV would work for you. You need a lot of patience, but your CV will work for you and you would succeed. You will earn big money. There are people who work abroad and earn $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 monthly. So it's extremely possible, but you need to be patient.
But if sorry to cut you, if 500,000, not many earn up to 500,000 here. We have to be very realistic.
Very honest.
But if you earn up to 500,000, 1 million naira in Nigeria, some of them you can live very well here.
Yes.
Right? But that won't even take you through a month's rent in some of the cities out there.
Okay, so if you're earning
what will be
you're earning like 1 million naira, again, I always say that you see that big money you're calling in Nigeria here is small money there.
Actually.
Okay, and once you've answered that question, why am I moving? It helps a lot of things. That 1 million naira is less than $1,000.
Yes, $600.
$600. Who is earning $600 in? Let me ask you who do you think, when you watch a Manchester United game or a Chelsea game, who do you think fills up the stadiums?
Let me do class.
Yes. They are season ticket holders. Season tickets. And it's if a match day game is like £55, some as high as £100. And you have people that go every day. They watch 70 games in a season. How are they able to afford it? So they work hard, they make enough money to be able to, and all these people that travel around the world, they are not rich now. That's why you see the average white person travels.
Yeah.
They're not extremely rich. So if you earn 1 million naira here, you're comfortable, no doubt. But I believe strongly that you can achieve more. If you're willing to push beyond the barriers and do more, that 1 million naira will be like chicken.
So let's talk about the cultural differences. Now, this is going to be a difficult one, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
As an African, I'm sure it's going to be like a nightmare scenario. If you wake up one morning and your son says, "Hey, Dad, I'm no longer a boy.
I'm a girl.
Not even a girl.
Oh,
I'm gender fluid.
I'm a stone. Yeah, I mean, you see, assimilation, okay? Assimilation, cultural assimilation is one of the things you have to do when you migrate. Okay. But you don't need to assimilate fully. You adapt, but you don't take everything in, hook, line, and sinker. If you're an African, and we know our background, where we're coming from, these things that we hear these days are totally unacceptable. Yeah. People can come for me. I don't care. There are only two genders. Okay. You're either male or female. Okay. So if your child comes to you and says, I'm gender this, gender that, you reset the brain now. Reset the brain. You reset the brain.
But honestly, do you ever have these concerns?
I do, okay. Because when kids go out there, then they get a lot of interaction. It's in schools these days, and that's why the family unit is very important. Yeah. So orientation, continuous orientation and reorientation has to continue to happen in the home setting. In fact, some people are talking about not sending their kids to school anymore and just homeschooling them. Yeah. But again, that's why you have to be careful and do your proper research about where you're going to. The whole LGBTQ stuff is global, but you have to really pay attention. You have to really pay attention. So, yes, you assimilate and adapt and try and be a part of the country you move to, but you don't take everything in. So you have to sieve some and try and form a check and balance against other things.
All right, because that's actually a big concern.
I know it's a big concern, a big fear, but like I think over the last 10 years that I've been abroad, I've only had proper interaction with 2 of them. Okay, and the others I've seen will be at work. Okay, so you can see that I don't have any close relationship with anybody in that circle. So you can be selective about the kind of people you meet, the kind of crew you roll with, the kind of people that you also have access to or that have access to you. Yeah.
That's a good one. Now, for our last question, I know you participated in the last election, and from our conversations, I know you're very disappointed with what happened. Now, it seems like everyone with means is running out to find a better life. Honestly speaking, do you think we will get it right at some point?
I've taken a deep breath because I want to be careful what I say and how I deliver what I say. Yeah. You see, if I say that I was disappointed, it means that maybe I wasn't. I knew what the outcome would be, even though I played my part. And there's so many deep-rooted problems in Nigeria. So many. When someone can open his mouth and say, it is my turn. When someone says, it is my turn to be something, that means no matter what you do, it's beyond political campaign. This is me saying, there's nothing you can do. It is my turn. You told me to wait. Yeah. Your time is coming. The next one told me to wait. My time is coming. But this time is my turn, and there's nothing you can do. When someone boldly says that, also and Nigeria is a place where you can clearly see that this person is brilliant, this person is smart, has the concept and idea to birth development or create a change. But you look at this guy and just say, he's my guy. You no get sense. There's no reason why he should be there, but he's your guy. Because of his complexion, or because of his tribe, or because you're your neighbor, then that has to be the person. Because all we need is for us to be objective. A lot of Nigerians are not objective. A lot of Nigerians don't read. A lot of Nigerians don't care. It is what they will eat now. That's what they want. So the outcome of the last election, deeply, deeply disappointed, but I wouldn't say that I didn't see it coming. I knew it was going to happen, but I have gotten to a stage where whatever happens in Nigeria, it doesn't concern me. I'm not saying it doesn't concern me. If you people don't stand up for yourself and do what is right. Me, I am outside. I only come to Nigeria when I want to eat amala, when I miss suya. That's the only time I come to Nigeria. So the day Nigerians are ready, things will change. The typical Nigerian is very docile. The typical Nigerian is very shy. The typical Nigerian is all mouth. All mouth, no action. When the Nigerian is ready to bell the cat and take the bull by the horn, none of these people will be able to stand. That's the truth.
I'm sorry, but that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for doing this, Wakawaka Doctor.
Thank you very much.
I'd like to follow you. Thank you once again for taking out the time to be with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So if you are interested in traveling abroad, it could be for holidays, studies, or even permanent relocation, go check out the YouTube channel of Wakawaka Doctor. I'm sure you will learn a lot from there. The tips he shares on there for free will save you the stress of doing it blindly, and who knows, keep you away from scammers. Also, do well to vote for him. He has been nominated for, what's the award?
It's Best Male Content Creator
of the year.
Of the year. Yeah.
I've done my own vote.
Thank you.
Please go check that out. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you, bro. Thank you.